Peace, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Edible Activist Podcast. I am your host and favorite edible activist, Melissa L. Jones, here. Thank you all for tuning in on this YouTube Live. I am excited as always. So if you are tuning in, go ahead and rep your set in the chat. You know how we do. Don't leave us hanging here. So let us know where you're tuning in from. And yeah, we're so glad to have you. So few things. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. So go ahead and find Food Talks in Color on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you have listened to a few episodes or if you haven't tuned into a few of our episodes, go ahead and hit that like button, but also comment. We ask that you comment and share with a friend. So just really great content, great voices, like forget what I'm talking about, like all the amazing voices that have graced this show already. Just want to go ahead and just give them some praise and hope that you all have been fed off of these conversations that have been taking place over the summer since we launched on YouTube. So again, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and find Food Talks in Color on YouTube, subscribe, like, share. It goes a very, very, very long way. The other thing that I wanted to also mention as well is that in addition to YouTube, we are still on iTunes. So if y'all don't catch this on YouTube, you can still listen to Edible Activists on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, but to watch in action, YouTube is where it is on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. So we got a few people in the Brooklyn. Okay, Brooklyn in the house. And then we got DTSSMD as some folks, you would think some folks know what that means. No, downtown Silver Spring, but go ahead and rep your set in downtown Silver Spring. But yes, thank you all for tuning in. As you are joining in on the chat, go ahead and just say hello and where you're tuning in from. All right, so I am not going to be before you long because you don't want to hear me talk. You want to hear our guests talk. But I'm excited because for today's show, we are going to be talking all things Dreamy, right? Like Dreamy, building a dreamy Detroit community. And so I had the pleasure of interviewing this amazing guest last year, 2021. I have to remind myself it's 2022, and just really hearing this guest's dynamic story of from vacant lots to, building out just a wonderful, beautiful oasis, if you will, in the city of Detroit. And so shout out to Detroit. So definitely I'm just excited to have on the show again, returning guest and edible activist alum, Marilyn Griffin, who is the creator of Griffin Gardens in Detroit, Michigan. So again, shout out to Detroit. And so again, she's no stranger to the show. When her and I talked last time, again, we were talking, she was met with two vacant lots, that her dad had gifted her. And so I know that she was still actually getting her bearings together and just really figuring, building the space out, clearing it out, and just really just still trying to figure out, what is it that I'm building. And so I'm excited to have Marilyn back on the show. And so I'm going to bring her on in just a moment here, and just really talk through the expansion of Griffin Gardens and what she's been building and what she's been cultivating in Detroit and the community that she's built. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Marilyn into the show. What up, or what did Detroiters say?
What up, though?
Exactly. I was waiting for it. No Detroiter would ever show up my show and not say that. What up, though?
No, we got to say that.
Yes. Marilyn, welcome back.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
Yes. And what I failed to mention is that for y'all who want to actually go back to the episode that Marilyn was on last year, it's episode 101. 101, if my memory serves me correct. 101. So go check it out again on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. But Marilyn, you, again, when we spoke, last year, it was actually our first conversation. We actually had some mutual friends, pals, in this space. So just, always excited to make those connections. But, you had talked a bit about your story and, how these you came across, some vacant lots actually that your dad had gifted you. And we had talked a bit about legacy and building on that and what that means to you. And so literally since last year, you've been blooming. in the physical sense, in the spiritual sense, I'm sure in the emotional sense, like all the things,
All
right?
the things.
And just really cultivating some really great things in Detroit, which I always have to tell people is one of my favorite cities. Let me just say, Detroit is one of my favorite cities. But we talked about a lot, and so what I would like to do, before we get dive deeper into this dreamy oasis, and I have to say the word dream because it's a word that you've been using. Like you said, like I've built, I've had dreams about building something, even if you didn't know exactly what it was or what the
Yeah.
outcome was going to be, but like looking back on like how this is all panned out, I'm sure you're just like in awe and just like, I did that. Like this literally was like a vacant lot and it was, blight and it was just nothing. And like now it's like, not that it wasn't nothing, but now it's just
What you
like
mean?
I've grown. Like it's you just built something amazing. But for some of our guests who don't know you, let's just do like a brief introduction into you, but also just a little bit about your story, about how you came, how you came across the vacant lots and how that kind of started. And again, if y'all want to hear full details, because Marilyn also shared some really just great, interesting facts about her family lineage as well on our podcast last year. So check out episode 101. So we're not going to go into all the details. I want you to go listen to 101, but we're going to focus more so on the expansion and what Marilyn has been working on over the past year. So. All you.
Okay, so if I can explain this in a couple of minutes because it's a long story.
I know. I gave you a
But
very tough job.
it's okay. I'll try my best. So, born and raised in Detroit, I moved to New York City to teach in 2010, and I was there for 9 years. And throughout teaching, one of my main objectives or main goals was for my students to always know who they are. So I always incorporated like time to do family trees, and I always try to incorporate lessons about their ethnicity. That was like one of my main focuses. No matter what your background is, let's start off with who are you. And it got to a point where it was just like, yeah, you're asking your students to constantly do this work, but like you don't really know a lot about your family's history. And at that time, I started to like trace my family's genealogy, and it just became apparent at that time that like I needed to do the work for myself. So I made this I wouldn't say ridiculous decision, but a crazy and very drastic decision to leave my job of like 8 years at the time, a very good job, because in out New York is one of the highest paid like the city that pays the teachers the highest, I think, in the country. It might be other places, obviously, but they're up there. So to leave that job, or take a sabbatical to do this work, it was ridiculous, but it felt right. And so yeah, the plan was just to do this work for about a year. So I moved back home temporarily. Like I was like, I'm gonna probably come back to New York. I didn't really know. I had no idea what I was doing. But I was like, I'll come back home to Detroit, and then I'll do this research, but which I ended up doing. I got a chance to travel to Ohio and Georgia, Missouri, and I got a chance to find out a lot of information about my family. And throughout that year, I found out that my dad had purchased two lots, but the lot the garden is on or started on was one lot. And so I kind of inquired about it, like, what do you plan on doing with this lot? And he's just like, I don't know. He's just like, it's for you and your sister, it's your lineage. And so I was just like, at first I was like, I want to build a dream home. That was the idea. Yeah, I
Did
didn't
I
mention
know
that.
that? That's
No, I
like,
didn't mention that because the idea was like squandered so fast. I'm not gonna say who squandered the idea, but it's okay because it was all for good. But the friend that was just like, you're not gonna be able to do that because of the housing market, especially in Detroit. And so I was like, what else can I do? And I was like, I should build a garden. And that's how it started.
and it started and it's going
It's
and
going,
going and going
going.
and going. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this dreamy place. And even if you don't want to continue to use the word dreamy,
It's
I'm
very
going to use the
dreamy.
word dreamy because every time I see it, I'm like, Oh my goodness. And I haven't been yet, y'all. I kept telling Mary, I was like, I just need to get back to Detroit. And it's gonna be one of my first stops when I get back to Detroit to go see this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. So I'm just really excited. So, you've expanded, from what I can see and what expansion means to you, but a lot has happened since the last time we spoke. And that was last year of April. So I know that you were still clearing things out. I think you were focused on flour. No, were you growing some food or focused on more on just a little bit of produce or more so flowers? But it wasn't, I know it wasn't full fledged growing at that point that we had talked last year in April. But
Um, yeah, I'm sorry. You
no, no,
continue.
no. But aside from that, like other things I mean, you've had a number of events that taken place. You have had, invited the wonderful community, to this place. You've had a ton of events, but going back, I just want to just, kind of just lean in on, how you've expanded some and what some of the things that you have incorporated and done since the last time that we have talked, and some of the amazing things that I've been seeing online at Griffin Gardens that I know has just been lighting your soul up on the inside to see.
And the interesting thing is, people always ask me like, "How do you feel? You have to feel so proud of this." And it's like, it's not that I'm not proud. It's just I'm always like looking forward. What's the next thing I got
Mm,
to do? Like I have this vision of what I want it to look like. So that's all I see is that. And so it's super cool when I have these kind of conversations. I did a speaking engagement last week to this gardening group in Rochester, which is a city about 45 minutes outside of Detroit. And to prepare for the presentation, I had to go back and look at all the pictures from the beginning. And
mm.
seeing that was like, wow, okay. I
Like
have
I
done a lot.
did
I did
that.
that. It's one of those things that you really don't know how far you've come unless you really look back.
Ooh,
And
yes,
so
a
it was,
message.
yeah, like I was in awe of myself. And I'm not ever in awe of myself because I'm just, again,
Oh,
I'm looking forward. I'm not there yet. I know what it wants. I know what to look like. It look good, but it's gonna look
yes.
even better next year.
Yes, yes. And it's like, what is better because it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
What are some of the resources that helped you to expand the way that you did? Because let me just also take another step back. Like I really want this to inspire someone else who may have a similar dream
Hmm.
to build something. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but
Yeah.
like if you have a vision to build something for community or just like to beautify, your neighborhood, like I really do want this to be inspiring because this really is truly inspirational, Marilyn. And so I'm very curious to some of the resources, and when we think resources, we're always thinking like money, but it's like no time, people,
Right. Right.
like
Right.
artists who came in, like what were some of the resources that really helped you to expand, since last year up until now, to
Yeah.
really, expand Griffin Gardens.
So I would say first of all, shout out to Keep Growing Detroit. If you're not familiar, okay, you are familiar, but for those of you all who
I
are
am.
unfamiliar, it's an amazing, I think it's a nonprofit, let's just say organization. And they support all gardeners and growers, enthusiasts in the city of Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck, which are two cities outside of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally have this garden resource program for families. It's $15. You get 3 installments of seeds and transplants 3 times a year. You have access to
Wow.
free classes. You have access to tools, compost, mulch. It's like whatever you need to be a successful gardener, you literally have that with this program. So definitely shout out to Keep Growing Detroit. Like they really was the organization that got me started because I didn't know what to grow, when to grow it, and because they have these distributions during the time in which you should plant. It's like it helps you because a lot of people are like under the impression that I live in a cold climate, so I can only grow X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no,
Mm.
you can, which is why they give you transplants that's already started. So you have a head start on that. So number one, Keep Growing Detroit. Number two, I would say a company called Finnegan's Farms. They are a sister company And they're the ones that built the raised beds for me. They blessed me with those raised beds.
Wow. Go
Yeah, last
ahead. That's
year.
awesome.
Yeah, like in that, I mean, I just can't even tell you how that helped me because I was going to build that myself and I had no idea of how to do it. I could have done it, sure, but it would have been a huge setback and it would have been exhausting for me to do. It wouldn't
Hmm.
have looked as good. And they just reached out to me and blessed me, and we've just been connected ever since. So they do farm builds. They
Okay.
also like just support gardeners throughout the city. So yeah, definitely shout out to Finnegan's Farms, Amanda and Claire.
All right, Finnegan Farms. Okay, so
Yeah,
keep growing Detroit, Finnegan Farms. Okay.
yeah. And I would say all the volunteers, like this year, especially like last year, the last couple of years, people have always said, "Hey, we want to help. When can I come by?" I'm like, right now,
Pull up.
crickets. And I wasn't tripping because
Yeah.
it's like I know at the end of the day, we are all adults. We're grown. We have
Hmm.
so many things going on in our life, and there's so many
Yes.
things that we really want to do. Like I
Hmm.
think for the most of us, if we could do everything, if we could help everybody, we would.
We would. And it was,
But
I'm sure they said it with good intention, especially in that moment. You're
for
available.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So what I realized, I'm like, well, people are super busy. What they need is an organized event that they can set aside time for, put in their
Mm.
calendar. It feels like an event,
Yeah.
so it's going to help them want to show up more.
Yeah. Not just like a
And
tour. Like I mean a
exactly.
chore. Like I gotta show up and volunteer,
And they're by
like
themselves. It's like
yeah,
it's too
yeah.
overwhelming. So I started doing it. I had 3 events, but through those 3 events this year, I connected with a lot of dope people, especially dope women. I went shout out
Oh.
all the women in the Detroit
Yes.
metro area. Like,
Yes.
I'm not saying the men aren't there, but the women in Detroit in a gardening space, like
I love it.
we're out
Yes.
there and we're so supportive of each other. It's just been a blessing to meet so many women that have
Mm.
showed up and just be like, "What you need help with?"
And
If it's
we
just
get her
sifting,
done.
yeah. If you're just sifting through your compost, if it's just raking up some leaves, like, what do you need me to do? So I would say the community, for sure.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
Marilyn.
yeah. I could go on and on. I don't know if you want me to keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely want you to give credit to where credit is due, and I think it's important for folks to understand and that it's not a one person thing. Oftentimes we just see that one face behind something that we've created, but you also do a really great job in just highlighting those who have contributed, to the space as well. But you just don't have like a very like tiny little section. You got
Yeah.
pretty sizable space, so that, I mean, all hands on deck. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. What do you feel like you still need in order to reach even higher limits and to touch that? I know, because I know you still dreaming. Okay, so, and let's go ahead and just put the intentions
Wow.
on out
Yes.
there. All right, because we don't know who's listening. It might
Right.
show up in your DMs or
For
your.
sure.
But honestly, though, what do you feel like you still need to keep this to keep expanding and to keep cultivating and to keep building opportunities for the community to come and show up and I'm sure not even just like to help you. This is therapeutic for them as
Yeah.
well to be a
For
part of
sure.
this. Yeah. So what are some
Yeah.
of those resources you feel like you still need or you could use? So.
So one of the first thing is having water on the property.
Oh.
So I've been blessed that
Oh.
the garden is adjacent to the house I grew up in, which is where my sister lives. I'm not to put her business out there.
Hey,
Sorry, sister, if
sis.
you watching. But I'm so blessed that my sister allows me to use her water. So literally every day I pull my 300-foot hose and connect it to her hose, and I use her water to water the garden.
That's a blessing. That
That's a
is a,
blessing.
yeah, that really is.
Yeah. So that's how I've been able to water the garden because people always like that's one of the first things that I tell people when because everybody is like, I want to do what you're doing. And I'm like, that's what's up. You can do it. Just remember your water. What's your water source, right?
Mm.
So people talk about rain catchment centers or that kind of setup,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
it's cool, but like this year, I don't know how it was where you are. It
Hot
was like it was hot and it was no rain. We got no
and
rain
no
this
rain.
year.
I mean, we got bad storms that lasted for like 2 minutes,
Yeah,
but it was just hot and nasty. It was dry.
same.
Yeah.
But last year we got all the
Mm,
rain last year. So
mm-hmm.
like this year, if you had a rain catchment, it didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Um, so I said that to say there are two really good water lines on the property. How we found this out was that it had
Hmm.
been leaking.
Okay.
We saw we the two lots that I got acquired this year. I didn't say that, but so we got two lots this year, and
Oh no, no,
I
no. Oh, I heard. Trust me.
okay.
I'm, I be seeing on the gram. Okay. I was just waiting for you to bring
Yeah,
that up.
I mean, you didn't ask. So I didn't know how to like weave that into the conversation. But yeah, I mean, and even that's a whole nother conversation because I've been working on that for like probably almost 3 years, trying to
Oh
get those two lots.
wow. Oh really?
Yeah,
Man. Okay.
it's been really hard. If you want to talk about that later, we could bring it up again. But
Yeah,
yeah,
interesting. Okay. All right. We'll table that for now, but I definitely want to touch on that for a little
yeah.
bit.
So like seeing the two lots and me knowing like, okay, I eventually want to get those two lots. It was like this area that would flood. You could tell like water was filling up, like to the point
Mm-hmm.
my dad dug a hole to make like a little pond for the birds because they were always out there. That's how much water was there. That birds could
Wow.
literally like clean themselves and like drink.
Oh gosh.
So when I contacted the city about it, they were like the water department for the city of Detroit was like that's not on them. Because what happens is this is what they said. What happens is when a house is demolished, they're supposed to, I guess, cut the pipes, turn off the pipes, whatever. And whoever's job it was, they never fully turned it off. That water has been leaking for, I don't know, maybe over 6 years. Who knows?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So they were like, you have to pay a master gardener, a master not gardener, master plumber to turn it off. The plumber we hired charged $800 because they had to bring in machinery to dig in there and turn off the hose. But through that, he was like, "You got a good line. You have two good lines here." So, long answer to your question, the goal is to get that line turned on. So I did apply for a grant. I don't know if you're familiar with the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund. If
I
you're not,
am. I
okay,
am. I am.
okay.
But speak on it for those who aren't though.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I applied this year. This is my first year applying.
Okay.
But they give out grants to people for Black folks in the city of Detroit. It might be even outside, but I know definitely in Detroit who are interested in getting land to grow
Mm-hmm.
on.
Mm-hmm.
They also will give out grants to assist growers to help with what they're doing, right? So for me, since I already have the land, I don't need the grant money for that. I do
Okay.
need it to assist me with hiring a plumber to do this work because it's
Okay.
about I think it's between $5,000 to $7,000 to get.
I think I missed my
Yeah,
calling of becoming a plumber
it
because
makes some
no,
money.
for real.
Okay, yeah,
Let
they
me
make
stop.
some
I'll be
dough.
messing everything up.
They make some dough. But
Wow.
yeah, because it's a process. They have to like draw up a blueprint. They have to
Oh, I'm
submit it to the city to
sure.
get a permit. It's a whole thing.
Mm.
So like that's one of the things I'm working on to get that turned on. Like I said, that's
Oh
probably
my
between
goodness.
like 5 to 7,000. If I get the grant, that'll definitely help.
Okay.
Um,
Yes.
one of my dreams is to have a wrought iron fence. I'm sure that's everybody's dream. Those gates are just so lovely and they're
They
so
are.
sturdy. They're strong, but they're really expensive.
I know.
They're
I
very
know.
expensive. I think
Yeah.
for like, what was it, like 8 feet? It was like $500.
Oh.
It's expensive. I mean, when I looked it up, I mean, you probably could find some cheaper places, but
Mm-hmm.
that's like a long, 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 long term goal for the
Mm.
fencing because I like the idea that the community can see in it. I don't want to have wood fencing just
Right.
completely covered it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the kind of fencing I have up now is very temporary, but it
Mm-hmm.
works. It's very functional.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay. So anything else? Is there anything else you feel like you're any other resources you feel like you can use to just take Griffin Gardens to a whole nother dreamy level?
It's just more money for flowers. I mean, literally, I've spent
Yes.
$1,000 on plants. Like, I mean, it costs a lot of money. I was blessed by the community. I did a
Yes.
plant raiser a
You're right. I
couple
can't
months
pronounce.
ago,
You put
which
it
was
out there
so
and watch it
cool.
happen for you. That's right. We were just talking about, your wrought iron fence. That's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, right, right. But yeah, those plants though, I mean, like, I did a plant raiser, this organization called Rochester Pollinators. They did a native plant sale and I purchased some plants from them. And then I was just like, people always saying you should do a GoFundMe, you should do a GoFundMe. I've done that before with my genealogy, and I just never want to ask people for money again.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, what's something that people would feel good about donating to?
Mm-hmm.
Where they can see where their money is actually going.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, to buy a plant. You don't have to give me the money. I'm giving you the link. The organization create a registry for me. They just asked me,
Mm-hmm.
what plants do you want? I
Mm-hmm.
told people, I was like, listen, they're $4.50. If you could just give me one, that would be great.
Yes.
And I think I put like 75 plants on there, and it sold out in like 2 hours.
Oh my, I believe it. I'm mad I missed this actually.
I was blown away. I was like, I should have put more on the list. I had no idea.
Now you
I,
know, sis.
I was just like, wow. Like I felt so loved from
Mm,
that. I did not expect that at all. I just thought, one person would buy one plant, another person would buy another plant. But there's people who were
yeah,
buying 4 or 5 plants,
of course.
So that was a super cool experience.
That's so dope.
So yeah, I'm just like, listen, people will drop off seeds to me, or
Hmm.
they've gifted me plants. So yeah, all the plants,
That's, oh, I
all the
love that
plants.
so much. So what's been growing? What have you been most proud of to grow this year? Well, I know we talked a lot
Ooh.
about flowers last year, and I if anybody knows me, I love florals. But what has been your some of your proudest growing moments this year? I remember saying we're gonna take a little tour over to Marilyn's Instagram page so we can show y'all some photos. But one that stands out, I don't think it was the one I posted, but was it a big? It was either was it a cucumber or a squash? It was huge. Like it was like right next to you. And you're like cheesing. I don't know. It could have been last year. I feel like it was this
I
year.
don't know. I don't know if
But
it was a loofah. It could have been a loofah. I don't
mm,
know.
I'm not sure.
Um, I am drawing a blank because
That's okay.
I'm just so proud of all the plants that are growing. I think
Yes.
like my biggest thing that I've been really focused on is like getting native plants in the garden.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Those are the ones that's going to sustain our
Mm-hmm.
ecosystem. So
Mm.
learning about them, growing them, and seeing the pollinators that are attracted to them. So I'll say aside from the actual like plant itself, but like seeing a hummingbird.
Yeah. I know that's your thing. When you catch it, you try. Yes. Yes.
A
Yes.
hummingbird,
I know.
like, yeah. So seeing
Hummingbirds
the
in the hood. Can
hummingbirds in the hood, like somebody had commented, like,
picture
I
it.
didn't even know we had them. And I'm like,
Right.
I know. I never seen them until they came to the garden. I never saw them
Right.
in person.
Right. What a sight. I love it.
So it's literally it's so cool to plant something and to see what it attracts and what it hosts, like the
Hmm.
the specific butterflies that it hosts. The ones that come and lay eggs on it. It's just like
Oh
it feels like
gosh.
you're doing God's work. You know, it
Oh, I
it
love that.
yeah, yeah.
I love that. What has been some of like the accolades and reactions and conversations you've had from neighbors or volunteers, like the community that's been part of Griffin Gardens?
It feels like most people that come to the garden, they love the space. So I
Yeah.
mean, um, I guess they enjoy it, that they feel very
Yeah.
blessed. It's very therapeutic to be in the space.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
like when I talk about, like the vision is just making it as beautiful as possible. So when you come
Mm.
in there, it feels like a dream. It feels like you said, like an oasis. Like that's
Yeah.
like the goal. Like I know it's different urban gardens that like focus on food, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
have the food too. I want to have the herbs. I want to have all the things, but I also want to have the flowers that you feel when you walk in there. It's just like a safe space. and
Mm-hmm.
you just come there and just relax and
Zen out.
I and zen out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's divert a bit, or actually
Okay.
revisit, these the two other lots that you've acquired or still in the process
No,
of trying
I
to.
own them.
You own you you better say it with conviction.
I work hard for those two lots. I
Say
own
it
those
with
lots.
conviction.
You know,
I own them.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
3 years. Why? It's I hate to ask why, because like it's like asking why, but like why, but it's like really like why. But I guess I'm asking from the standpoint of, I know I can't remember if we talked about this last year on the show, but there are programs, tons of programs in Detroit that are supposed to help assist with
Mhm.
folks, to get access to vacant lots for as little as dollars, $1. So what process or what program, if you actually, you don't need to put the program out there if you
Oh, I'm
don't
gonna
want
tell
me
you,
to.
whatever. It's gonna help somebody else out, so I don't care.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But why, what was that process and the difficulty in acquiring these additional lots in 3 years? And you are a resident in Detroit, a
Yeah.
resident, like I mean, you were from Detroit, even when you moved, like you're a resident, like why was this process so difficult?
So the initial lots that my dad got was through a program called the Side Lot Program through the
Oh,
Detroit Land Bank.
yes.
So
Okay.
that
Remember
program,
that.
if you live adjacent to a property, you can get, I think it's two. It might be even four. If it's adjacent, if there's like, one in the front, on the sides, and the back, you can get all four of those. It just really depends if there's vacant lot available. You get those for $100
Okay.
if you own the home. If you
Okay.
own the home, I
Oh,
gotta say that because some people think you just rent a home. You have to own the home to
okay.
purchase them. So I don't know if it was last year or the year before last, they created another program because I guess they saw that that's kind of hard. Like people may want lots, but they don't live adjacent to a vacant lot. So they
Mm-hmm.
created this program called the neighborhood lot. And you could purchase, I think, up to two lots, a vacant lot that's up to 500 feet away from you. So that opened it up to a lot of people.
Okay.
It took time for these side lots to then get filtered into these neighborhood lot programs. So if you qualify for the 500 feet, you just have to wait until they transfer those to the neighborhood lot program. Um, and so, you know how you've gone somewhere, maybe anywhere like customer service, and you've dealt with one agent, and no matter what, they just can't seem to help you. And then somehow you got transferred to one person that was like, let me help you out. This is what you got to do.
And she put a little codes in, and you just like, bam.
Done. That's literally what happened.
Re-
I was assigned an agent who originally said that we didn't qualify for the neighborhood lot for
Interesting.
whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another option. If you don't qualify for the side lot program, you don't qualify for the neighborhood lot program, you can submit a proposal. And you basically have to, send all this information. You have to draw out the blueprint. You have to identify your budget, all this stuff. And then you have to wait to see if you're approved. So I was going back and forth with that agent for a year. After going back with that agent for a year, he was like, actually, you do qualify for the neighborhood lot. Even though a year before that, I was told we weren't. I'm like,
Mm.
okay. So again, going back and forth with this guy, the guy never talked to me via the phone. So everything was through email. You know
Oh,
how frustrating it is because I feel like a conversation could have nipped it right in the bud the
yeah,
first time.
of course.
He never called me back, not once. And
Mm.
it felt like every conversation was a conversation that we had just talked about the time before that. And it wasn't like the emails were back and forth. It was literally like I would wait for weeks to hear back from him. So frustrating. Um, but yeah, somebody suggested to me, and I'm gonna tell this to anybody in Detroit or anybody that's having issues with getting in contact with somebody that's going to help you. Someone said, CC everybody in the organization. I CC everybody in Detroit Land Bank, and I
Because
say
y'all gonna hear from me today.
somebody gonna help me.
Everybody.
Somebody. I was like, can somebody help me? I have been going back and forth with this man for 3 years now, trying to get X, Y, and Z out, whatever. Somehow it filtered to this woman. Yeah, it was a woman. Of course, it was a woman. Of course, it was a
Of
woman.
course.
It got to a woman, and she was just like, I felt like, even though it was through email, I felt like she whispered it to me. Like,
It was
girl, just do.
divine.
She was like, girl, just do this. She didn't say girl, but that's how I felt. It felt like
Right.
a
That's how I felt. Right.
girl, just do this. When I say that thing that I changed was, you know what? I'm gonna set some people free. The issue that I kept running into, which no one told me, was that the account my dad created for the Detroit Land Bank,
Mm-hmm.
it had his current address. He doesn't
Okay.
live at that house. So they kept saying he doesn't qualify based off of that address.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Because in order to get those lots, it has to be connected to an address that's near it.
Mm.
She was like, just change the address.
This is, and this is year 3, Marilyn? Girl.
As soon as I did that, I got approved.
Stop. Stop.
I mean, it was so frustrating, but I was like, I went through this for a reason to help
Yes,
other
you
people
did. Yes,
out.
you did. Yes, you did.
That
Yes, you
was it.
did.
And I got
Yes, you
approved.
did. Oh, an address change.
That's it.
Wow. Wow. Man,
Yeah.
I'm floored.
Yeah.
I know, probably no more floored than you were.
But I feel like that happens all the time with just
Yeah.
I don't want to call people incompetent, but people probably just don't have the resources either. Like, who's to
Mm-hmm.
say what this man's workload was? Because I talked to other people who had him as an agent as well, and
Mm-hmm.
they had the same frustration. So I'm like, is he overloaded with work? Does he not know the ins and I don't know what the situation is, but
I'm gonna throw him just. I'm gonna throw him some grace just because everybody needs a little bit of grace. But if you didn't know something as simple as the address change, but let me throw some grace out. But it was 3 years. 3 years. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you have the lots.
yeah.
So what are we gonna do with them?
Oh, so I was like expanding them. I was like, I'm going to expand it and just add to the garden. And so,
Okay, so you're on the set. Okay, so when you started, you were only on one lot,
yep,
right? Okay,
yep,
so now you're on 2 lots. Is that
three.
correct? Three, three. Okay, two. I can count. 1 + 2
It's
equals
okay.
3. Okay, 3 lots.
Yep,
Wow. Oh gosh, y'all, we got to get to this
you got to
garden.
come.
We gotta go. Okay, so y'all, let's take a moment. We're gonna do like a little tour,
Okay.
right? Because we need to see. It is. I keep saying it's beautiful. I haven't been there physically, but I'm there virtually. Okay, so we are gonna see, and I'm just super excited. Give me one moment, y'all. But
Yeah.
we are going to go ahead and look at and make sure that you can see my screen. Can you all see the garden? Can we see?
It's still loading from my end.
Oh, okay. I think. Let me know in the chat if you can see the garden. And actually, here we
Okay.
go. Do you see?
Yeah, I can see it.
Awesome. Y'all, look at this. Beautiful.
So that picture right there is facing that like seating area from the first lot. But in
Okay.
all the grass area that's the second, and then I'm taking a picture from the third lot.
Okay. Oh my gosh. See, y'all not commented because that's me. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's like visit. Look at this. This is what you get to just touch and see and pluck every single day, Marilyn. Ah, what kind of flower is this?
Dahlias.
Dahlias.
Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful. I love this. Oh, y'all, look at that.
It's like straight geometry. That's when I see that, that's all I think about is geometry. All that stuff
Oh
growing up,
my
like
gosh. Those colors are amazing. Look at Marilyn, y'all. And you look like you have so much fun, Marilyn. This is just like your happy place here. Like I mean, every time I see your photo, it's just look at these. Okay. Do you ever do like a U pick? Have you done like a U pick like flower?
so
Has
that's
it?
what I was trying to work on this year. Like I did my Saturday market. So for 9 weeks, I had various vendors pull up and sell food, jewelry, art. I was selling my flowers so people could come and pick. I just found that people prefer to have the bouquets already done. Some people did like the experience, but most people who showed up just bought the bouquet itself that was already put together. But I didn't really advertise it. I'm still kind of working on that.
This is it. This is what I was
Oh,
talking about. The
that's
zucchini. I knew.
Yeah.
Oh my, look at, oh my goodness.
It did really
Wow.
good this year. I was, yeah, because last year my zucchini didn't do so well. So
Wow. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
I, I hope y'all go visit Griffin Garden. My little green, is it my little green space?
Yep.
Is that okay? So
Hmm.
I'm gonna drop that in the chat and you all go ahead and make sure that you are following Marilyn. If you are not, her garden is just wonderful. I can't wait to be there in person. Okay, so a couple more things that I want to chat about, Marilyn, is that you actually, which I have to, right, Kara? Excellent word. Look, excellent. Just, I love it. It's
Thank you,
beautiful.
Kira.
Kira, yes, it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. Again, you've had a lot going on in the garden. You've been able to do community events and invite people into the space, and you've just curated so many wonderful things. But something that you got to live out, I believe it was last year, was had to have a dance party, but you actually DJ'd. And let me let y'all in on a little secret. Whenever somebody asks me what my dream job is, or like that dream, it is really like to become a DJ.
You
I
should
was
do
like,
it.
I don't even know where to start. I just have the look down, right? Like the look, like the
You got the
one, like
look.
you.
Take a class. That's what I did. That's what got me started was taking a class.
Really? Don't tell me
Yeah.
that. I don't need to do nothing else. I don't need
Just take
another
one
thing on my
class.
plate.
Yeah, I mean it was one of those things. I was like, let me go ahead and do that. It was actually at DJ Jam Master, what's it? In Run DMC, J Master
Oh,
J. Yeah,
nice.
his
Okay.
school. Yeah, he
Okay,
has a school in New
cool.
York. So I took a class
Oh,
there.
when
Yep.
you were living in New York or when
Yep.
you were, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That gave me the start.
So not only are you like building this, you've built this very dreamy place, but you are literally like living out, some of the desires and passions that you've had. And I know that that whole DJ experience, like, meant a lot to you. And I chuckled because I think on your laptop that you were playing from, it said no song request. Like whatever I play, y'all just start moving.
So this is the thing. I remember a DJ. I think it was Rich Medina who mentioned this. He said, people go to the clubs now. When they go, it's a different experience. Back in the day, people would
Mm,
go to the clubs to hear a DJ put them onto music because the DJs were the first ones to
mm.
learn about songs
So
and
true.
artists. Now people go to hear what they want to hear. And it's such a different experience. I don't consider myself a DJ. I just love to DJ. Like I just have so much respect for the craft that
Yeah.
I don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah.
Um, but like my friends and I, we were in New York. We would always go to parties, and this is us the whole time, like Shazamming the whole
Right.
time.
Who
Like
is this?
that was her whole thing. And then we would just share with each other because we want to get put onto music because we appreciate music. But
Yeah.
people, they just want to come, and it's so many memes of the DJs post
Yeah.
that people just in line. Can you
Yeah.
play this song? And it's like these people are working. Like this is a
Yeah.
whole art. You would never
Yes.
go anywhere else and request to somebody to do X, Y, and Z. And I it gives me anxiety because if you have like music that it's a vibe that you're creating this environment, a whole
Mm-hmm.
vibe. So
Mm-hmm.
if like I'm playing house music or dance music, disco music, which is like my type of
Mm-hmm.
music,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you want to request, I don't even know this new music,
I know,
whatever,
girl. You
whatever
want
this
to
new,
hear Little Baby?
that is
Which
just
I love Little
going.
Baby, let me just say.
Oh, okay, which is fine. I'm not
Right.
hating,
But
but
no, I get what you're
it
saying.
just
I get
throws
what you're saying.
everything off.
Yeah.
And I just want people to dance, have a good
Yeah.
time. Like I don't even like when people come up to me and they're just like sitting there recording or just sitting there just staring at me. People do that to DJs all the time. Like if you go to a
Oh.
party, why should you look at the DJ? I
Right.
mean, I've done it, but I mean we're all guilty because it's a performer. Like
Mm-hmm.
at a at the end of the day. But I just want people to ignore me Like if
Yeah.
I could be, actually one of my friends suggested, she was like, you need to wear those masks like what's that group? Dang. The group that never, you could never see who they were. They always was in costume. Oh,
This
maybe
kind of
my
like a
friends in the chat.
this is like an R&B group, or I don't know what you're talking about,
No,
Marilyn.
they're like indie.
Oh no, I
Um,
don't know.
dang, it's gonna come to me. But it's a
But you
group.
know what? You put that is actually, and you know what? Even trying to curate my own list, it's an art to
It is an
creating
art. It's an
a list.
art.
So I understand it, and it's like, we don't a lot of times look at DJs like as like you say art. It's like it is an art. It
It
is a
is an
craft,
art.
right? Like really
Yeah.
creating a whole mood. Like
Yeah.
what atmosphere do I want to create for this environment, like just and I never really thought about that until
Yeah.
now. So, and I'll certainly be mindful, but I'm actually not the person who's running up to the DJ like making a song request. Like I'll dance just
Yeah.
about anything. But no, but I chuckled when I saw that. I said, Marilyn said, don't ask, do not
Dance.
request,
Don't
just
worry about me.
dance.
Just dance.
Right.
Have a good time. Like that's my
Yes.
goal. That's my,
Yes.
you talk about my dream for the garden and the beauty of it.
Mm,
Whenever I DJ, my dream is for people just to have a good time. Like that is my
that's
goal.
it.
So if I see people just standing there looking at me, not dancing, want to hear their song, it just throw me off and it give me so much anxiety, which is why I
Yeah.
don't DJ often. But for
Mm,
my garden party every year, I feel like that's a safe space
yeah.
and you're coming into my space.
I know
So
that's right.
enjoy the music.
Enjoy the music. Y'all better start percolating to this good
All
old
right,
house
right,
music,
right,
okay?
right. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh!" And you just look so cute. You had a little dress on, the headphones, like in your zone. I loved it, and I was
I just
like,
had one this past Saturday. This is my second one.
"Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes!
it was nice. It
Awesome,
was really, really
awesome!
nice.
So beautiful, so beautiful." Um, Are there any for our listeners? And sorry, I've just been chatting away with Marilyn, having a good time. If you all have any questions, pardon me, feel free to drop them in the chat. We could take a few moments to answer those. So, if you are looking to build something dreamy, if you have a concept, for community and just something that you have in mind, ask some of the questions now because Marilyn has built that. And as we talked early on in the show, it just wasn't a one person effort. She had some support from community, and shout out again to
Finnegan's Farm.
Finnegan's Farm.
Yeah,
I was
it's
almost there.
okay.
Okay. Keep growing Detroit. That's one thing I love about Detroit. There are so many resources and just so many grants and just to help people build and mobilize. So just really just shout out to the city of Detroit. But yes, if you all have any questions, anything that you're looking to build and just want some advice, we have a few moments. So go ahead and drop them. We can address those while we have a few more moments. But before we wrap up, what continues to be your why, Marilyn? Like every day, because I know you there just about every day. What continues to be your why?
Um, I I want people in the neighborhood to also have beautiful spaces, have access to beautiful spaces. Like I don't want people to have to go all the way downtown to go to a nice park.
Mm,
I
yes.
mean, the kids that have walked past or just looked in, they're always like, "This is so beautiful." Like I've even had kids say, "Thank you for building this." Like it's just like they deserve it too.
Right.
Because most people don't ever go downtown anywhere, right? Most people stay where they live. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
like, why can't we have beautiful spaces in our own neighborhood? And so I really just want to build a beautiful space
Mm,
for the community I grew up in. So um,
that's
yeah. And
that's awesome.
yeah. And it's not just like the flowers, it's like, having the yoga, the meditation, and the market every Saturday, and people just coming in, and not just to come in to talk to me, but to connect. Watching people meet other people and connect, it's
Yeah,
just so beautiful. Yeah, it's
that's
just building a
awesome.
space for people.
And what a beautiful place to do that in and connect. And I know I've been saying this for the past year. I know for me, um, it's the world is still a little weird to me. I don't know how it feels to anybody else.
Mm.
And I have a lot of anxiety now as someone who talks to a lot of people, you know, and this is episode 131. I've had a lot of anxiety just being out in public and
Mhm.
really like reconnecting with people too. And so I think it's just even more beautiful and important that you've created this space that is not just beautiful, but safe and protected, and that's inviting and warm so that people can, connect and have conversations and just feel like they're in a place where, pardon me, they can breathe and just get away, like I'm sure after a day's worth of work and just being able to be in a space where it's just green and it's beautiful and it's inviting. So, and I'm sure what you've there is so much that you've done for community that you probably don't even recognize because a lot of those conversations may not even be held directly with you, but I'm sure that you have um, inspired and helped people in some like really tough times. It's still weird out here, so but it's beautiful. But I love that a lot. That why that continues to be your why. So that's awesome. So we can also it sound so. Griffin Saturday. So you have something every Saturday. Is that
For
correct?
9 weeks.
Oh, whew.
July 9th to last Saturday.
Congrats to you.
Every morning, Saturday morning, 6, 7 o'clock, I gotta getting ready. Because our meditation was at 9. And I had to harvest whatever I was harvesting. I either sell
Yeah.
it or give it away, or I was selling the flowers, just getting prepared.
Yeah.
And then we had yoga at 10, and then the market was from 11 to 2. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
But it was so many just entrepreneurs, and again, just shout out to the women in Detroit. We had maybe one or two male vendors, which I think is also something that I want to explore. I've talked about this, like, what are men doing? Because
Mm.
Detroit women, so creative.
Mm-hmm.
So creative. I mean, women are selling just jewelry, art, candles, food. I mean, it was just a range of things, clothes, books, and it's like, where are the
Wow.
men at? But I don't want to, whatever. That's not what we're talking about. But I just want to highlight the women. It was so
Of
many dope
course.
women that came through, and one thing I did this year was that in exchange for them vending for free, they just had to volunteer for an hour at the
Okay.
garden.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so that
That's
was
what's up.
super cool. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Marilyn, before I ask you your final question, let folks know where to find you. I dropped your Instagram handle into the chat. So that's one place. But if folks want to, if that's your main channel for connecting, email, website, or anything, let folks know because they might want to connect with you after the show, ask you a few more questions, or again, just follow your work. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, email is Griffin Gardens Detroit at Gmail.
awesome.
Griffin, not En. So
Okay.
Griffin Gardens Detroit at Gmail. And then My Little Green Space is Instagram, and Griffin Gardens Detroit at Facebook.
All righty.
Yeah.
Awesome. 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 All right. So for the finale question, Marilyn, what is one edible act that anybody can take today after listening to this show?
So, I'm not prepared for this question. I mean, you did ask me this. So, I would say, is you can plant right now. And by me, you can plant fall seeds. I think, again, living in a cold climate, I feel like it's a huge misconception that you can't grow anything. And there are cold weather crops that I learned from Keep Growing Detroit. Shout out to Keep Growing Detroit again. Where you have cold weather crops like spinach, kale, collards. My aunt always said the best time to harvest some collards was when that frost hit it, like
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you're like, oh, the summer's over with, I can't grow. Yes, you can. You can still grow. You can grow peas. And
I
also,
love some
like, I think
peas.
October is when you start to plant garlic for next year,
Okay.
and your flowers. You plant your bulbs this year, like your tulips, your daffodils. They're going to come up in the spring. So I give you a ton of edible eggs.
I
Sorry.
was about to say she gave me multiple. Plant, 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 and plant.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
That's what
know
you got.
you can grow food now.
All
You
right.
still grow food now.
You heard it. You heard it.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Marilyn, it was a pleasure. I'm so glad you were back on the show. Y'all, check out episode 101. I chatted with Marilyn last year, so please, we talked about so much more in that episode. And actually, that was my first time getting to know Marilyn, and learned a lot about her family, her lineage, that whole journey that she went through, and uncovering her roots. And so yeah, go ahead and find that episode on iTunes, actually on YouTube as well. You can tap in on YouTube, episode 101, to listen to that. So if you are not subscribed to the show, please find Food Talks in Color on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. If you like this show, go ahead and hit that like button. Also comment. It goes a very long way. Let us know what you liked. I have a bit of a personality, so if you like me, you like Marilyn, go ahead and just say, there were two dope girls, all right, on today's show. Just go ahead and say that. But as always, we are here next Monday, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you all be well and peace.